Alright, welcome back to DecryptedTech. Today in the lab, as you can tell, we have a Gigabyte Z97MX Gaming 5 motherboard. This is one of their G1 gaming motherboards. It's going to be the Z97 chipset, pretty obvious. We're going to just take a quick look at the box and we'll get into really what you really want to know about. Alright, box is pretty simple. It's cardboard, but it's got kind of a plasticky feel to it. And I guess it's to keep it, let it hold up. Underneath the flap here, you get a picture of the motherboard. You don't actually get a visible, don't get a view of the motherboard yet. And of course, on the top, you have a bunch of different items, just images that are designed to tell you, hey, this is a really high-quality board. It's intended for high-quality usage, gaming, the whole works. Of course, you have high-quality audio capacitors. You have noise guard, trace path lighting. Now, a lot of this is going to look really familiar, but that's okay, as long as it drives, somebody comes up with the idea and drives innovation for the rest of the industry, I'm good with that. You have the G1 networking, which is Killer Networks. It's an E2200 gaming networking processor. It's not actually just a control chip. So, of course, you have precise digital CPU power, a lot of really good features that are intended for enthusiasts and gamers. The back is just going to be a continuation of that. You have another image of the board, but you also have everything is highlighted, so you know exactly what you're looking at. Again, it gives you a list of some of the top-end things for the G1 series. Two-way SLI, Gigabyte amp up audio, the networking, and of course the new look and layout that they have. So that covers the board, and we're going to go ahead and show you what comes inside the box now. Alright, inside the box you have the typical manual. You have, of course, a multilingual installation guidebook. You have your driver's DVD. You also have some SATA cables. These are going to be very standard. You have an I/O shield. It's got some padding on it, so it's easier to put in place. And of course, they've done a nice thing where they've done the different colors in there instead of just the standard colors. And then you also have an SLI bridge. So of course, again, that's for that two-way SLI. So that covers what you get inside of the box. Let's take a look at the motherboard now. Alright, the Z97MX Gaming 5 motherboard is a mini ATX motherboard. So it's not a micro, it's not a mini ITX or anything like that. It's this mini format. You do have 3 PCI E slots. We'll get into that in a little bit. Still follows the basic ATX layout. And we'll go ahead and get started here at the top. You have your 4 RAM slots, which is a nice, we've seen where a lot of them, when they get smaller, they want to reduce the number of RAM slots. You do have your 4 full RAM slots here. You have USB 3.0, your power connectors right here. You have a fan header, which is a system fan header. And then, of course, you have some of your power regulation for your memory. As we take a look at the actual CPU socket area. Of course, you have your power regulation, solid capacitors. These appear to be Nichicon caps. You have a CPU optional fan, so if you have an air cooler that has 2, you have your CPU fan, which is white, so it kind of stands out. You have your cooling, which is a little bit of a redesign for Gigabyte. It looks pretty clean. It's gone to a red and black look, as opposed to some of the older ones where we've seen gold. We've seen the days of the old purple PCB from Gigabyte are long gone. Kind of nostalgic for that. It was a different look. You also have your 8-pin power header that's up here along the top of the board. And again, they've done something that's pretty nice, is you have a little bit more room to go ahead and plug that in. You can still run the risk of, scraping losing some knuckle skin on the heat sinks here, but you do have a lot more room to work with. You're probably going to want to go ahead and get an adapter anyway. It'll let you make a cleaner, cleaner build in your case. And looking at the center of the lower half of the board, actually, what we're going to see is you see an M.2 adapter. This is going to be a PCIe adapter, so you're going to need an M.2 PCIe SSD that's going to run off of a PCIe lanes. It ties in with the SATA Express that's on here as well. So of course you have another system fan header. These are all 4-pin PWM fan headers, which is really nice. You have your audio, they call it amp up audio. This is audio built into the motherboard, and of course, according to Gigabyte, it is actually segmented from the board, and you can see that path by an LED that will light up along here. You do have your audio capacitors. These are filter capacitors, which help reduce noise and give you just a nicer quality sound. It's a nice improvement to your gaming boards. Sound has traditionally been one of the areas that's been lower. You get that sort of good enough audio. It's nice to see that push towards better audio on these boards. Alright, of course you have 3 PCIe X16 mechanical slots. Not all of them are X16. We'll go ahead and flip it around here and show you that. Top one is going to be full X16 electrical. The second one is going to be X8. And then of course you have an X4 slot down here. And then your X1 slot. It's going to be important, so when you're running SLI or Crossfire, you're going to end up with dual X8 instead of dual X16. There's a very minimal, it wouldn't be anything that you would notice as far as when you're gaming or when you're running anything, throughput hit. Not necessarily a performance hit, but there is a throughput hit when you start looking at some of your higher end cards, especially if you want to push 4K over SLI or Crossfire. Alright, looking at the bottom half of the board, of course you have some plug-in options, audio, another 4-pin PWM fan header, 2 USB headers, and of course you have your front panel audio, or front panel header, not necessarily audio. And then we'll turn this around here and you see you have your one SATA Express port. It's right here, and then the rest are all your regular SATA ports. So the last thing we're going to take a look at is we're going to go ahead and flip this around and show you the I/O shield. Of course you have dual PS2 ports, which is kind of interesting. You have one for mouse, one for keyboard. Not used to seeing that a lot, but it can help when you're overclocking because sometimes USB doesn't initialize correctly when you're overclocking. You have VGA, DVI, HDMI. You have two different, you have 4 USB 3.0 ports. You have 4 USB 2.0 ports. Of course you have your LAN here, and you have your audio, which is appear to be gold adapter plugins there. So not really anything that you're ever going to hear, but it does give a little better contact area when you're running gold. But you have to have gold to gold contact. If it's gold to standard, you're going to lose the benefit. So that covers the basic layout and some of the obvious features of this motherboard. As always, if you like this video, make sure you click on the like button. Be sure to share it with your friends, and as always, subscribe to us so you can stay up to date with the news and reviews we have for you. If you want to get a little bit more detailed information about some of what you see on the board, if you click on the link right below this video, that'll actually take you to our site, and you'll have the full written review, including some more in-depth information about some of the features and items that we talk about here. All right, thank you.